I am super excited to get to share with you today a short story of mine, one of my very favorite short stories called New Moons and Sky Roads. It was published by The Journal, which is a literary magazine put out by Ohio State University as part of their winter 2026 issue. New Moons and Sky Roads. Auntie Lou was a dragon. She would tumble into my cramped twin bed more nights than not, her brimstone breath warm on my cheek as she giggled sleepily and recounted tales of the knights errant she had vanquished. Come the morning, she'd empty her pockets of treasure for me. Stolen bottle openers, melted chocolates, matchbooks, and Chinese cookie fortunes. Sometimes there was even a wad of crumpled bills, and I'd howl with delight to know she'd be walking to the bakery to bring back croissants or bagels or donuts for Mama and me. Mama was not a dragon. Auntie Lou said she was a nun, but that was silly. She did wear black every day, but only because the cleaning company made her. Even her socks were black. But under the long sleeves and all across her back, fairy tale stories made a multicolored map of her skin. When she gave me my bath, I would trace the roses and feathers, thorns and talons on her strong brown arms and pretend all the ink would run off in the water and stain me in the same pretty patterns. We had a troll at our apartment building back then. All buildings did, I guess. Some stood at the door and some lurked under the stairs, and others, Auntie Lou said, wore uniforms and drove in circles on the streets. Sometimes we had to pay a toll or listen to their riddles that never had an answer and weren't funny at all, and on those days our currency was a forced laugh and a broken blade smile. The ones in cars were tricksters. Some days they helped, and some days they hurt. Our troll was never a helper, even though he said he kept the monsters out. I wasn't sure what a monster was. We didn't have monsters in our apartment, but that was because Mama kept a towel rolled up against the door, and Auntie Lou had a whole passel of shadow dogs who patrolled our walls and windows. I figured that old troll was all flim-flam. I didn't see him do anything but eat gold and make change with the rat kings on the sidewalk. Maybe I was a monster. I liked that idea. The monster that dumb troll said hello to every morning on my way to school and every afternoon on my way home, and never guessed what I really was. It could have been true. Mama said I was covered in scales when I was born, but they washed off in the bath. And I was sure I had feathers, but they always molted in the damp. Sometimes I would find a little one on my pillow in the morning, and I'd know I'd been out flying in my sleep. Wings aren't always a road to the sky, though. I learned that when Mama brought home one of the pigeon girls. I'd come home alone from school and paid my laughter toll to the troll to get up the stairs, like always. I checked to see if Auntie Lou might be sleeping in my room, but she was gone. I was eating a Pop-Tart and reading my book. The television had been static for a week. When the door slammed open and Mama staggered in, a pigeon girl half hanging from her arm. I loved pigeon girls, but I wasn't allowed to talk to them. Iridescent and shimmering, they cooed and strutted the streets all through our neighborhood in the afternoons and evenings. Their eyes, I thought, were full of stories. Sometimes they would scatter when some cat pounced on the street, but soon enough they would all flutter back. This one, though, was broken. We're going to your room, Phoenix, Mama told me. She slammed the door behind her with a foot. I scrambled out of the way. The pigeon girl's breathing sounded like a metal fork dragged over the sidewalk. Her hair and face were one big matted, pulpy mess. I couldn't tell if she was walking at all or if Mama was just dragging her. Is Auntie Lou here? No. Mama thrust her hip at me as she hauled the pigeon girl onto my bed and tucked a pillow behind her head. Get my phone, call her. Tell her I need her. I stood frozen. I watched blood pour from under the pigeon girl's short black skirt, between her thighs and onto my pink and yellow sheets. My heart slammed so hard into my breastbone that it hurt. I didn't hear myself chanting, "Mama, Mama, Mama," while I shook my hands at my sides. "Phoenix," Mama snapped. "Now, call Auntie Lou." My gaze veered away from Mama's hands, slippery with gore, as my own struggled to tuck her phone free of her pocket. It took me 3 tries to get my shaking fingers to make the call, and I don't remember what I said, but I do remember Auntie Lou's voice in my ear. Deep and serious, so steady she sounded like a stranger. "I'm coming, Fifi." That's what she always called me. "You take care of Mama till I get there." Somehow her words grounded me. If a dragon thought I could take care of Mama, then it was going to be okay. Mama had rushed away, so I set the phone down on my dresser and stepped closer to the pigeon girl. Her eyes were closed, but I wasn't sure if she was unconscious or if they were smashed that way. She looked like a stone ogre had stomped all over her, and that terrible sound was still coming from her throat with every breath. A miasma of unfamiliar odors rolled off of her. Later, I would know they had been fear and pain and death. Not her death, though. My memory of that day is jumbled and hazy, and I suspect some events are out of order. I remember a dragon breathing fire that cooled and healed instead of burning, its great emerald and scarlet wings rising and falling around the bed. I remember a painted nun with arms full of old towels singing very sweary hymns that still sounded like lullabies. I remember how steam from a pot on the stove filled our little rooms again and again, and I remember when the pigeon girl opened her storybook eyes and cried, and cried, and cried. And I remember that she lived. Something died, though. Something she had carried in her belly that was now all black and purple with boot marks. Auntie Lou went to the thrift store and bought new, if hideously ugly, sheets for my bed, so the pigeon girl didn't have to sleep where all her hurt had spilled out of her. I slept on the couch where Mama usually slept, and Mama and Auntie Lou slept on the floor. At least, I thought they did. They sat up talking in low voices until I drifted off on the rhythm of the words I couldn't quite make out. I was hopeful I could make friends with the pigeon girl, but that didn't happen. Even when she started sitting up and then hobbling around, she hardly ever spoke. I tried reading to her and tucking my stuffed animals around her while she slept. Sometimes she would roll over and look at me with her great dark eyes, but I could see there were no stories there now. Her eyes had grown a forest, with massive dark trunks crowded close together, whose branches reached higher and higher so that I could not make out a single green leaf. One day I came home from school and she was gone. My bed was made, and Rio, my rainbow-colored stuffed elephant, was gone too. I tried to be sad, but that was impossible. If she'd taken Rio, that meant we had been friends, after all. Maybe I would see her with the other pigeons sometimes, and she would look at me with her wooded eyes, and I would smile. After I walked past, she would tell the other pigeons, "That's Phoenix. She's my friend." I didn't see her, though. Not on afternoon walks home from school, or on trips to the food truck with Auntie Lou for dinner, or from my window over the alley. About a week after she left, I was reading in bed, when I was supposed to be sleeping, and I heard Auntie Lou gust in the apartment door. She tried to be quiet, but dragons are unwieldy on land. "Hush, Lou," Mama hissed. "I just got that dang girl to bed. What's wrong?" Choking, snuffling noises were her only answer. I crept out of bed and tiptoed to my bedroom door. It was cracked open, like always. I was scared of the dark. I peeked out. Auntie Lou was crying. Something dragons never did. I watched, horrified, as she pulled something from her big bag and handed it to Mama. was Rio. My stomach twisted hard. I clapped my hand over my mouth. She just couldn't do it, Auntie Lou said. They found her a few hours ago. Couldn't do what? My mind raced. What couldn't the pigeon girl do? Why was Auntie Lou crying? Why didn't the pigeon girl want Rio anymore? Dread poured through me like water through a sieve. Time slowed way, way down. I saw every tear, every twisted line on Auntie Lou's face. My brain tossed all it knew up into the air and waited as with infinite slowness each piece fell back down into place. Blood roared in my ears as the present rushed back in, and I understood in the same moment Mama did. My eyes filled with tears. The pigeon girl was dead. I looked to Mama. I wanted to run to her, to throw my arms around her waist and cry. She needed to cry too, surely. But Mama was gone. Where she had stood, I saw a wolf on its hind legs with the new moon in its eyes. The dragon reared back. Rio hit the floor and rolled a few feet away. The wolf growled, a soft, ominous sound that raised all the hair on my arms. Black and silver fur flashed, and the dragon and I were alone in the apartment. I scrambled back into my bed and squeezed my eyes tight, though I don't think Auntie Lou was fooled when she slid under the blankets a few minutes later. She wrapped me in her strong, leathery wings and didn't let go all night. Mama was in the kitchen when I got up for school the next morning. She wore a yellow blouse and red pants. Her tattoos sang up and down her arms as she whisked pancake batter. I saw her black work pants and black shirt stuffed in the kitchen trash, festooned with broken eggshells. Auntie Lou was right behind me, which wasn't like her at all. Dragons are not early risers. She raised her eyebrows at Mama and huffed her way over to the coffee pot. Career change, said Mama, as though Auntie Lou had asked a question. When Mama and I walked to the bus stop that morning, the only trolls I saw were the tricksters in uniforms and cars. Even the Rat Kings had disappeared. Mama kissed the top of my head and patted my backpack when the bus chugged to a halt. Make good choices, Phoenix, she said. I scooted my butt into the first open seat at the front of the bus. Only 6th graders got to sit in the back. I looked out the window. Mama smiled and waved. I saw a flash of great sharp teeth and the new moon in her eyes. I didn't think the pigeon girls would need to be afraid anymore. The end. I hope you'll pick up a copy of the journal when you get a chance and read all the wonderful other stories and poems that are between its covers. Thank you so much for listening.